There's a quiet kind of sorrow that sneaks in when the house falls silent, when the nights stretch longer, and the laughter once echoing through the rooms becomes a memory you hold like fragile glass. It's in these still moments that a realization dawns that most of your story has already been written, and it was written at a cost, not a cost you regret, but one that aches in a way words can't explain. You start to feel the weight of every secret you once whispered, every truth. You hand it over to hands too careless to cherish them. You realize that vulnerability, once a beautiful bridge to connection, can sometimes become the doorway to your deepest wounds. Have you ever felt that unsettling ache, that maybe you gave away too much of yourself to people who never deserved? To know the depth of you. If you have, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're simply awakening. Awakening to a truth that Carl Jung himself hinted at in his writings, that the soul must be guarded, not hidden, but protected, like an ancient temple weathered by storms yet still sacred. As we age, it's not just our bones that become more delicate. It's our inner life, too. Our hopes, our regrets, our quiet dreams. They become treasures, and not every traveler deserves a map to them. Today, we're going to walk through something rarely spoken aloud, but deeply felt. The 5 things you should never share carelessly in your later years. Not out of fear, not out of bitterness, but out of profound self-respect. Out of understanding that the life you built is no longer a public offering. It's a sacred flame that must be tended gently, wisely, and with love. Because, my friend, old age is not a weakening. It's a refining. It's not the end of your power. It's the beginning of a quieter, deeper kind of strength. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you may just feel a little lighter, a little stronger, and a little more at peace with the person you've become. Before we dive deeper, if you find yourself nodding along, if your heart feels even a little seen right now, I invite you to leave a comment below. Share a small piece of your own journey. It's through these small offerings that real connection lives. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there needs to hear your echo to feel less alone. Now, let's begin. Never share your deepest regrets. There are certain memories, certain choices that live deep in the marrow of who you are. Not because they define you, but because they shaped you quietly over time. Regret is a strange thing. It isn't just sorrow over what was done or left undone. It's a mirror, reflecting back the silent hopes you once had for yourself. Hopes that sometimes never found their way into the world. Sharing your regrets might feel like an act of honesty, even liberation. And sometimes it is, when shared with someone who listens not with judgment, but with open hands. But too often, regret is treated like a wound to be prodded, picked apart, misunderstood. When you hand your deepest regrets to careless hearts, they no longer remain yours. They become stories retold by others, half understood, misinterpreted, woven into opinions that never carried the full weight of your truth. And without meaning to, they may begin to see you through the lens of your weakest moments, forgetting the mountains you've climbed since then, forgetting the soul that rose from that valley. Have you ever felt someone reduce you to a single mistake, as if your entire life could be measured by one misstep? If so, know this: you are not the sum of your regrets. You are the person who carried them, learned from them, and kept walking forward when it would have been easier to give up. In old age, your regrets no longer need to be explained. They are not currency to spend for connection. They are quiet teachers, meant only for you, meant to guide, not to imprison. Protect them, honor them. And if you must share, share only with someone who has earned the right to hold your story gently. Someone who sees your wholeness, not your flaws. If you've ever been hurt by sharing too much with the wrong person, you are not alone. Let's open a space in the comments Have you ever trusted someone with a fragile piece of you, only to wish you hadn't? If you feel ready, share your reflection. Your voice matters more than you know. Now, let's continue. Never share the full depth of your financial situation. There's a hidden weight that comes with money, one we often don't speak about openly, but feel in the subtle shifts of how others treat us. When people know too much about your financial life, whether it's abundance or scarcity, something in their gaze often changes. Not always, but often enough to leave a scar. You stop being simply you. You become a symbol, a resource to tap into, or a target for resentment. In old age, when your hands have weathered years of labor, when your savings carry the stories of decades gone by, your financial reality becomes something sacred. Not because it's shameful, but because it's deeply personal. You are under no obligation to reveal how you made it through, what you've saved, or what you plan to leave behind. These truths are threads in the private tapestry of your life, woven with sacrifice, wisdom, and choices only you fully understand. When you open your ledger to the wrong eyes, you risk turning relationships into silent negotiations. You risk becoming in their mind a bank, a burden, or a pawn in battles you never wanted to fight. Have you ever felt a shift, a slight tension, a subtle expectation, after someone learned what you had or didn't have? That feeling is your intuition whispering, "Be careful." It's not selfishness. It's not paranoia. It's the deep knowing that respect should never be tied to a number in a bank account. So guard that part of you. Be generous. Yes, be kind. Absolutely. But remember, true generosity does not require you to display your treasure for all to see. It asks only that you give from the heart, without becoming a trophy, without becoming a target. If you've ever seen how money, or the lack of it, changed the way someone treated you, you're not imagining it. And you're not alone. I invite you to share a small reflection in the comments if your heart feels ready. Sometimes telling our truth, even quietly, frees a weight we didn't realize we were carrying. Now, let's move deeper into the soul's landscape. Never share the full weight of your pain. Pain. It shapes us in ways nothing else can. It softens us. It scars us. It teaches us to kneel before the mysteries of life. But pain is also sacred. It's not a debt we owe to anyone else's curiosity. It's not a performance piece, to be applauded or pitied or passed around in whispered conversations. There's a kind of pain that, when shared with the wrong heart, doesn't heal. It deepens. It becomes distorted, used not to connect, but to judge, to gossip, to diminish. Have you ever confided your heartbreak to someone, only to feel that hollow ache of regret afterward, as if you had handed over a fragile piece of yourself, and they dropped it without even noticing? If you have, you are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are simply a soul learning that not every open ear is a safe harbor. As we grow older, our sorrows do not vanish. They settle deeper. They become quiet companions we carry with a dignity the young often cannot understand. But dignity means choosing carefully. Not everyone deserves a front-row seat to the aching chambers of your heart, because some will take your grief and wear it like a badge, a story to tell at their next gathering, a way to feel important without ever having paid the price of your pain. And in doing so, they rob your suffering of the reverence it deserves. You deserve better than that. If you must speak your sorrow, speak it to those who hold it with both hands, gently, reverently, without trying to fix it or explain it away. Only those who understand that grief is not a project but a sacred pilgrimage are worthy of your deeper truths. Have you ever had your pain misused by someone you trusted? If this resonates with you, if a memory stirs gently in your chest, I invite you to share, if you wish, in the comments below. Not every wound needs to be opened, but sometimes simply being witnessed, truly witnessed, can be its own kind of healing. Now, breathe with me. Feel how strong you already are simply by carrying what you have carried. And let's continue forward, because your journey is not over yet. 4. Never share your future dreams and plans. In the later chapters of life, dreams don't roar the way they once did. They whisper. They speak of quiet hopes, a journey you still long to take, a letter you wish to send, a small garden you imagine. Blooming outside your window, these dreams are not naive. They are tender. They are what keep the soul reaching toward the light, even when the body grows tired. But dreams, like seeds, need the right soil. And not every listener offers fertile ground. When you share your delicate hopes with someone who does not understand, they may trample them without meaning to. With a careless laugh, a dismissive shrug, a sideways glance that says, "Why bother at your age?" And something inside you quietly folds in on itself. The dream withers, not because it wasn't strong, but because dreams are living things. They need warmth, belief, patience. Have you ever shared a tender hope, only to feel it die the moment it left your lips into someone else's cold silence? If so, you are not foolish for having hoped. You are courageous for still daring to dream in a world that often forgets how, but now you know better. Some dreams are meant to be whispered only to the stars. Some are meant to be nurtured in the quiet soil of your own heart, until they bloom on their own without needing anyone else's permission. Protect them. Let your dreams be the sacred fire you tend for yourself, not for validation, not for applause, but because your spirit still believes in the beauty of what could be. If you've ever had a dream dismissed or belittled, I invite you to breathe it back to life today, even silently. And if your heart feels open, you can share a small hope of yours in the comments below. No matter how small it seems, it deserves a place in the sun. You are not too old for wonder. You are not too late for beauty. Now, let's walk gently into the final truth you must guard. Never share your deep resentments. There is a kind of poison that travels not through the body, but through the soul. It begins quietly, a sharp memory, an old betrayal, a hurtful word that lingers longer than it should. At first, you think speaking it aloud will free you. That if you give voice to your resentment, it will leave your heart lighter, your mind clearer. And sometimes, with the right listener, it can. But more often, resentment, when spoken into careless air, grows stronger. It finds new fuel. It tightens its grip around the tender places inside you. Have you ever noticed that when you share anger with certain people, it doesn't dissolve, it expands? That's because resentment is not soothed by attention. It is fed by it. In old age, when your spirit yearns for peace, resentment becomes a thief. It steals your softness. It hardens the places that were meant to stay gentle. It turns moments of reflection into battles that replay endlessly in your mind. And the worst part? When you share your resentments with the wrong person, they may not hold them with understanding. They may fan the flames, encouraging your bitterness, trapping you in stories that keep you small, angry, and tired. You deserve better. You deserve a mind that feels light, a heart that feels unburdened, a soul that floats, not one weighed down by stones you were never meant to carry forever. If you must speak your resentments, speak them to the earth beneath a quiet tree. Write them into a letter you never send. Release them not into careless hands, but into sacred silence, where they can dissolve, where they can finally stop defining you. Have you ever felt resentment burn inside you, long after the moment that caused it passed? If so, you are human. Beautifully, heartbreakingly human. If your heart feels ready, you are welcome to reflect in the comments. What is one small piece of heaviness you long to lay down? Sometimes simply admitting it, even softly, is the first step toward peace. Now, breathe in, breathe out. Feel how much lighter your spirit becomes, even in the simple act of choosing silence over bitterness. Because, in the end, your soul was never meant to be a battlefield. It was meant to be a garden, and gardens, they need gentleness to bloom. You see, growing older is not a diminishing, it is a refining, a polishing of the soul, until all that remains is what is truest, what is deepest, what is most real. You are not here to hand out the sacred pieces of yourself to every passing hand. You are here to honor them, to cradle them like ancient relics of a life lived bravely, messily, beautifully. You are allowed to keep parts of yourself hidden, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Because wisdom knows that the most precious treasures are never left out in the open. They are tucked away, protected, nourished, guarded. Your regrets, your pain, your hopes, your resentments, they are not shameful. They are part of your sacred architecture. They deserve reverence, not exposure. And the few souls who truly see you, they will see you without needing every detail, without needing every wound displayed, without needing every dream explained. They will see you in your laughter, in your gentleness, in your strength that now runs quiet but deep, like a river that no longer needs to roar to prove it is powerful. You are not less because you share less. You are more. You are becoming a living temple, and temples do not fling their doors open wide. They let the worthy find their way in, slowly, respectfully, step by sacred step. So today I gently ask you, what pieces of yourself have you been giving away too easily? What would happen if, starting now, you chose to guard your soul the way it deserves to be guarded? If this touched something inside you, if your heart feels a little softer, a little stronger, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, even just a few words. You never know who might be waiting silently, needing the courage your voice can offer. And if you know someone with silver in their hair and quiet stories in their eyes, who might need this reminder too, please share this video with them. Because the world needs more guarded temples, more wise hearts, more souls who know their worth. And if you haven't already, subscribe and stay with us. Because this space we're building together, it's not about noise. It's about reflection. It's about healing. It's about remembering who you were, always meant to become. 1 gentle breath at a time. Until next time, stay tender, stay fierce, and never forget, you are the keeper of something truly sacred.